Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here for Quick Tip Thursday. This is Nicole with Topaz, and today's topic is going to be creating realistic fog with Topaz Lens Effects. So adding fog or mist to your image can completely alter the entire mood and turn your image into something really special. It can completely transform it. And adding just a bit of mist or fog to your landscape images is not only very simple, but very customizable within Topaz Lens Effects. So you can take somewhat of a kind of bland image and really make it something more powerful very quickly with this fog filter. So let's go ahead and look at what we're going to be going over here today. Go ahead and get out of this. We're going to be covering three very simple workflows. The first workflow, let's see here, will be adding fog into an image that already has some mist going on in there. Here's our original image. It's a nice image, but it could definitely have a little bit more punch to it. So I just took it into Lens Effects, added a bit more fog, and then took it into Topaz Adjust and added a bit of punch with that adaptive exposure. We're also going to be covering how to add fog into an image that has no fog to start off with. So here's our original image and our after image. Lastly, we're going to be covering how to selectively apply fog into your image using Topaz Lens Effects, the fog filter, along with some masking tools as well. Here's your after. All right, so let's first go ahead and take in this image. We'll start off with this original. I'm just going to make a quick copy and go over to Filter, Topaz Labs, Topaz Lens Effects. And it's actually already in my fog filter area. All of the effects over here are over here on the top left. Just choose fog and you'll see the presets here available for you. Now the presets within the fog filter are going to either be fog that is more mist-like or in the sky versus kind of hanging down low but still not ground fog. And then we get down to the ground fog where it really starts to be heavier, more on the ground. Now these are great starting presets, but usually you'll need to go over into the right-hand side with your adjustments. But these presets will definitely show you how quickly it is to get realistic fog. I'm going to try to add fog to the original area, this top half of the image, and just make it more thick and more while still keeping it very realistic. So I'm going to come back up to my Fog 1 preset. Here's before and after, and I'm going to leave it there and then come over to my fog adjustments. So all of these adjustments are going to control the characteristics of the fog that we're adding in. The amount is going to control how strong or thick the fog is going to be. So as you take this up, you'll notice that it becomes more white, much more thick, and much more dramatic type of fog addition. The region size is going to determine how far or how large the actual region is of where the fog is being added. Now this goes right along with the effect position. So if I add, you can come in and actually place your fog effect exactly where you want it by coming down to this button and saying, just clicking on it, and when you come into your image, you'll see that you have crosshairs, and you can just click it wherever you want your fog. If you want ground fog, you can click down there or down towards the ground, and voila, you now have some ground fog. I want to go back up towards the top, so I'm going to come towards the top of the image and click there, and now I have it more in between the trees and adding to where the effect was already taking place naturally. Region size, again, will just increase the size and region of that effect. Transition goes along with region size as well. The transition, as you take it down, is going to control the transition between the fog effect and the original or the area that's not being affected. So as you take that transition down, it'll become much more obvious. And as you take that region size up, you'll see that really start to be an obvious transition. And as you take that transition up, it'll become more smooth and more natural. The angle allows you to change kind of the horizon of the fog. So if for some reason you wanted your fog to be at a different angle, coming in from a different area, you can easily do that. I usually tend to keep it at 180 degrees, especially if I'm working with my landscape images because it's a more natural type of an effect. Then the diffusion is really important within the fog effect. The diffusion controls how soft the focus is within the fog effect. So that's what really helps to create that realistic fog. Let me go 1-to-1 so you can check it out. If your diffusion is at 0, here is the original image. Here's the fog effect without any sort of diffusion, and that's not very realistic. Usually if you're looking through some pretty thick fog, you're going to lose some of that focus. So this just softens everything up and makes it look a little bit more natural the way that your eye would actually see it. So let me go back to fit. Here's before, here's after. I'm just going to take that amount a little bit down, maybe that diffusion just a little bit down as well as I take that amount down. But it's as simple as that to add in more fog to an image like this. I'm going to press OK, and we're going to go ahead and this image over here. Now, when you are choosing an image to add fog into, you don't want to be choosing necessarily an image that is noon, really bright sunny day out in the middle of a field, and it just might not make sense. So usually you'll want to, if you're trying to add fog into an image that did not have it at all or mist, usually choosing something with an overcast sky or kind of a rainy day is going to be much more realistic. This does have some pretty bright lights coming through, but I thought it would still work for this particular effect. So I'm just going to make a quick copy, go to Filter, Topaz Labs, go back to Lens Effects. We're back in our fog, and it is as easy as just choosing a preset. I'm going to go with Fog 1 again. Go into my fog adjustments, change the amount. I want it pretty heavy. The region size, I'm going to bring it down into my image. Make that transition a little less so I can start to see the moss-covered log here a little bit better. So there we go. And then the diffusion. I'm pretty happy with the diffusion actually. Maybe take that down and the region size down. So there we are. Here's before, here's after. Now, many people have asked in the past, how can you make a little bit more warm? If you have warm light coming through the trees, or if you have a warmer day and you want to change that fog effect, you can create the fog like we're doing now and apply it within Lens Effects. So down here on the lower right, I'm just going to apply the effect, and now I can move on to a different filter or any other type of effect over here on the top left. So I'm going to go into single tone and just, actually I'll go into warmth because it's really simple. And I'm just going to go to maybe warm 1, and there we have it. Here's before, here's after. You now have a warmer fog effect. So I'm going to take this before image, make a quick copy, and hop on into Lens Effects again. All right, so in this particular image, we already have some nice mist or nice fog that's kind of being burnt off by the sun coming up, but it's still definitely there. And if I wanted to increase this effect, I could easily do so. So I'm going to apply 2 different areas of effects. I'm going to make my hills in the background much more foggy, and then paint out where I don't want the fog. And then I'm also going to add some fog into the foreground as well. So first I want to go into my fog effect, and that is the before and after. That is the Fog 1 preset. Here's before and after. Let me try that one more time. Before and after. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just take that amount down just a little. Maybe take that region size down and the transition. So I kind of open up this foreground area. Okay, I'm going to take my effect position and put it exactly where I want it. Okay, here's before, here's after. Again, before and after. And I do want that region size to get even larger. I'm going to paint it out of the house. Okay, here's before again and after. I'm going to go ahead and say apply here. And now I'm going to add in some foreground fog as well. So that is looking pretty good. Let me take that amount down to more realistic. Take my effect position all the way down here, my region size further down, maybe my transition down, that might help. There we go. And I'm pretty happy there. Here's before, here's after. Up the hills, it's a little bit of mist there in the front, so I'm going to go ahead and just say okay. You can be more exact about it when you go through this process. So here's where we are so far. Here's before and here's after. What I like to do if I'm trying to do selectively placed fog, I will come into my host program and work with my masks. So real quick, before I announce the winner of Lens Effects, let me go ahead and go to Layer and just show you real quick how I would do this. I would say hide all for this particular one. So I'm hiding everything, so that means I need a white paintbrush. And I'm going to click on my paintbrush here. Make my size pretty big. And I want to make sure it's pretty soft as well. We are soft. I'm going to put the opacity at more like 50% and leave the flow there. And now I'm able to, because I've hidden everything on my black mask with my white brush, and bring back in some of that fog exactly where I want it. Now I'm being very, I'm not really doing exactly what I might do if I had enough time, but since this is a quick tip, I'm just going to kind of show you how you might bring back in the fog specifically where you want it, avoiding the areas where you don't. And I would have a smaller brush here as well, but start to get the idea. Here's before and after. So I can put it in between these hills. I would be a little bit more careful if I was working with this, but in the end, this is how by taking it in and putting a warming filter on top of all of the extra fog, I was able to achieve this image very quickly. All right, thanks again for joining me for Quick, and I hope you were able to learn something about adding realistic mist and fog into your image. Thanks so much, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye, everyone.